Of course, the most important part of your Ecwid store is the products that comprise it. Let's take a look at the process of creating new products in our store. To do this, we click Catalog and Products. And then, of course, we will click this Add New Product button. This takes us to the General tab for our new product, and as you can see, this page is very self-explanatory, but let's go through it field by field and fill in some of the information for our first product. Again, we're running a dessert store, so for this first product, let's give it the name Chocolate Walnut Cup. And you can click anywhere in this Add Image box to upload an image for your product. Simply select the image from your hard drive. And there it is. Now I should note that product images are important because they give online shoppers a better sense of your product. Otherwise, you're counting on your potential customers to just take your word for it that your product looks appetizing or visually pleasing or just very well made. Quality images will help increase sales. And by the way, I encourage you to follow along and create either of these same products on your own on your store as you go along with this tutorial. But if you don't have a candy image or an image of whatever you're adding of your own at the moment, you can save your products without them. It's just highly recommended that in a real-world scenario, you don't go live with your store until you have images for all of your products. We're going to skip SKU and we'll come back to weight in just a minute. But let's go to description. You can click on this box and just start typing to fill in this information. Rich product descriptions will not only help shoppers understand your product, but they'll also help improve traffic to your store when shoppers enter keywords into search engines such as Google. So for the description for our chocolate walnut cup, let's say, this delicious dessert consists of a semi-hard chocolate shell surrounding a soft center of chocolate mixed with bits of walnut. Now, notice we also have a formatting toolbar up here. If you're familiar with Microsoft Word or most text editors, you probably already know how to use this. You can highlight any portion of your text and change it to bold, or italics, or both, and a number of other things. We're not going to do that here, but just be aware that you do have those options. And now back up to here. If you don't have a specific SKU for your product, that's fine. You don't have to fill this in. Now, weight is important, not only for customers' information, but also for getting accurate shipping estimates, which we'll get to a little bit later in this tutorial. I'm just going to estimate and say one of these weighs 1/10 of a pound. Our price? Let's say one chocolate walnut cup is $2.99. Now let's go over to this Attributes tab. As a reminder, our options here are determined by the product types we created earlier in the tutorial. And you can manage these down here at Settings and Product Types. So what we're going to do is up here next to General, we're going to click Change Type. And then we have our options. Again, the product types that we've created. And this, of course, is a chocolate product, so we'll select that. And here are the additional fields we have for our chocolate product type. In this case, UPC and brand are irrelevant to this product, so we're just going to leave those empty. And again, these fields will not show up to the customer if we leave them empty, so that's perfectly fine. For a type of chocolate, let's just say this is milk chocolate. Allergy information, we'll write contains dairy, nuts, gluten. And we have two options for organic. We can just leave it blank and this won't show up at all. Or we can say no. Then I'm going to click Save so we don't lose any of this information. That takes us back to General, that's fine. And before we finish, we want to preview the product so that we can see how it's going to look to visitors browsing our store. Notice over here, we have the product details according to the attributes that we set up. Milk chocolate contains dairy, nuts, and gluten. Organic, no. And then it has our description. Obviously up here, it also has the price of the product. Note, as I said earlier, the UPC and brand fields are not showing up because we didn't put any information there. So Since we left that out, it doesn't say, UPC and then a blank, and it doesn't say brand and then a blank. It just leaves those fields out. Same would happen on any of these. If we left organic blank, it just wouldn't tell whether or not it was organic. So we can X out of that now. And we've already saved, and we haven't made any changes since we've saved. So now we're done with this one. We can go right ahead and add a new product, but first I want to back up and take a look at our catalog. Notice we now have the chocolate walnut cup showing up in our catalog. Now at this point, we can probably go ahead and start getting rid of some of these, at least disabling them, because once we start kind of looking at our store and making sure everything is correct, we don't want these sample products kind of getting in our way. As I discussed earlier, we can either disable them, which means they won't show up in the store, or we can delete them outright, which means they're entirely gone. Again, you always want to be careful when deleting products because you can't get that information back once you've done so. If you delete a product and you need it back, you have to create it again from scratch. So just keep that in mind. What I usually do in situations like this is I might disable 1 or 2 products just so I have those for reference if I ever need to come back and maybe look and see an example of something or how something's done. And then for the rest of these, in this situation, it's safe to go ahead and delete them. So we can click on this drop-down box, go to delete product and say yes. We can also check the products that we want to delete. Click bulk update and delete selected. Yes, we do wish to remove these. Let's add one more very quickly. This one is a lollipop. I'm going to add an image. And again, I'm not going to input a SKU. I'm going to say the weight of this is 0.2 pounds. For the description, I'm going to say our lollipops are handmade the old-fashioned way and make great gifts for anyone with a sweet tooth. I'm going to say one lollipop is $1.99. I'm going to go ahead and save this so I don't lose anything. It is safe to click around on these tabs without saving. If we did this and went to attributes without saving and then went back, the information would still be here. I simply save because saving frequently is a good and safe practice. But we are going to go to attributes. Once again, we're going to change the product type. And then once we click that, we'll select here. And as you can probably guess, this is a candy product, so we will select candy. I'm not going to add any information regarding UPC or brand. Sugar-free, I'm going to type no. And then sold by, count. Again, this is as opposed to weight. Let's save this. And before we finish, we want to preview the product. And this is what it's going to look like to customers. This looks great to me. So I'm going to X out. And now we're done creating the first 2 products for our store catalog. Now, of course, there are more settings you can control on your products, and we'll cover those in other videos. But for now, I'll say congratulations. You now know how to add a product to your store.